glow. That enchantment is the work of a very old group of builders. A group so old that they existed even before the Order of the Stone.
Now that I think about it, just exactly how old is the Old Order? I remember it like they've been around for some time and some of them do look old. And how old are the old builders? And wait, how old is our world if the builders are considered old? For how long have the people from the underneath been below the bedrock?
Okay, so we're doing this.
As I was thinking about this, I kept hitting dead ends. Mainly because of the implications of a long time passing since Romeo put bedrock over the underneath. I mean, something feels off about a long amount of time passing and Zara somehow still being alive. But if barely any time has passed at all, how are there so many people in the Sunshine Institute? It wasn't until I was hit on the face with this statement that I realized. In Minecraft, humans don't die of old age. They live until something like a starvation or damage kills them. Well, that makes my life easier. So let's start from the beginning. Like, the very beginning. The amount of time that passed before the underneath became what it is won't affect this timeline that much in my opinion. But after Fred was killed and Zara was imprisoned, I think the bedrocking process took about 2 hours. After that, Romeo had to pretty much rebuild the rest of the world, which, let's say it took him a couple months, maybe a year if he wanted to make it perfect. But I think that's a stretch. After that, people had to start spawning, and here's where it gets interesting. Some time has passed and now the world is fully operational. There's a bunch of people and a specific group of enthusiastic builders are determined to make it big with what they do. I'm not sure how long they were a group for, but since old is in their name, maybe 50 years, give or take? Let's go with that. But that time wasn't so uneventful outside of their own little bubble. By the time the old builders were around 45, the Order of the Stone formed, and more importantly, our main characters started spawning into the world. Back to the old builders. By the time they've been a group for around 50 years, things started to get complicated. The games became a thing, and Cassie and Harper left. It was also around this time that the Order killed the Ender Dragon. Months later, they officially split, and not long after, Harper made Palma, which you know how that went. Now, considering that 2, maybe even 3 towns with perfectly established systems and people who are familiar with each other were made, I'll say about 10 years passed between the Order split up and the events of Season 1. We're here! We made it! Things will be easier from now on. So now we're here with Jesse and Co, and my estimate for the time frame of the weather storm arc is of about a month, which would have been 2 weeks if it weren't for the trip to the far lands. After that, since it seems that the new order is somewhat comfortable with the roles and that the town is starting to take shape, I think there's a 4-ish month gap between episodes 4 and 5 of season 1. Which would have been longer if it weren't for the fact that, at least to me, everything still feels fresh. As for the portal arc, the gang was in Sky City, the mansion, and Crown Mesa for around 24 hours, and around 3 days at the games. Let's say they were on each other world they visited for about 2 days. After counting how many portals were entered and exited in the montage from the beginning of episode 7 and adding the numbers that I already mentioned, the portal arc lasted around 26-ish days. No wonder Petra was so mad. I would have been mad too. Now, on to season 2. Eric Sturpey mentioned that there's a gap of 5 to 7 years between the 2 seasons, so I'll go with that. And because the timeline of the episodes seems pretty continuous, I'll say the main events of season 2 lasted for a week at most, with the end of the final episode happening maybe 2 weeks after. So, in total, after calculating what I just said, and hopefully doing it correctly, The main events of and leading up to the Minecraft Story Mode franchise took place on a span of around 80 years. But hey, that is just a theory. A game theory. Sorry. So yeah, I could be horribly wrong or maybe even a little close to right. There's no way for me to confirm it, I think. But I'm glad I can at least clear up my own mind. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye!